Hey guys, today I want to share a little CRT monitor video hack with you that allows you to drastically improve the picture quality of your vintage retro CRT monitor. In this case I have the Amstrad CPC CRT RGB monitor on the bench here, the Amstrad CTM 644, but the hack will also apply to all other kinds of RGB monitors that don't have, a lot of controls. So in particular, the CTM only has the brightness control here, and that's about it. So on the back you can also still adjust the vertical hold as well as the centering of the picture, but that's about it. And you see that the image is actually not that great. So the picture is very good with the Amstrad CPC, right, which is also true RGB output. But here I'm actually running it with a composite video source, the ZX Spectrum, as you see, right? And so natively, of course, this monitor doesn't have a composite input or S-video, only RGB. So in order to display use it for a composite output computer such as a ZX Spectrum, you will need a converter, right? So that's the first thing. So you need a composite to RGB converter, and those are not easy to come by, I can tell you. So I think there is exactly one company in the world that makes this kind of equipment, and this is a company in Australia. So you won't find this on Amazon or your usual supply chain vendors, right? So you gotta Google a little bit the internet for that. And so that then has the composite input here and outputs RGB basically with csync, right? Combined sync, vertical and horizontal sync in one signal. And I just made a custom cable so that it connects to the Amstrad CTM here. And what you see is that the picture is actually not that great, right? So the contrast is not good and the colors are kind of washed, right? So especially if you play games, it doesn't look good. And so I was looking for a solution to this, right? So for example, when you play Synapse now or another game, you can barely see basically the gameplay. So it's really not that great, especially also here with the light, in the picture. And there isn't so much you can do to improve the image, right? If you turn the brightness up, it gets even more washed. I mean, then at least you can see something, but the contrast is really not good, right? So it's barely playable that way. And so I'm going to show you how to fix this. And of course note that a CTM simply doesn't have any more controls, so you cannot adjust, contrast or saturation or color. So that's about as good as it gets, yeah. So what can we do? And the solution is to get yourself a little video amplifier chip and construct something like this, basically. So this is just the socket, right, for the monitor. We turn it off so we can speak. So this is just the socket, of course, the RGB socket for the monitor. So the monitor plugs in here, and on the other side I'm plugging this into my RGB to composite converter, and then basically you have potentiometers for the three channels RGB, right? You also need to connect csync and ground. And so the component that makes the thing shine is this little video amp here. And let me plug this in and show you the drastic effect that this makes. So let me disconnect the monitor. And then we need to power the chip with 5 volts, right? So this is why we can simply use the power supply from the monitor. It outputs 5 volts, right? Then we plug the CTM in here, on this side. And on the other side, we plug it into the video converter. And now let's try that again. This is a little board in the loop. And yeah, you can already tell, boy, did that make a difference, right? So I can actually get a really paper white background now. And if you look at the other colors, right, then they have improved quite drastically. So this little video amp really makes a difference. Now let's try the game again. Synapse again. And now we can also read the menu, right? That wasn't the case previously. Let me turn off the lamp here. So yes, that's a drastic improvement, and I also have some potentiometers on board here that allows you to individually tune the RGB channels, right? So just use a screwdriver and then you can adjust. These are 100 ohm pots, right? You can tell that I can, you know, individually tune now red, green and blue. And that way I can get a really nice picture with good colors, good contrast, and yeah, I like it like this because it's very paper white. I think that way the colors look very vibrant and they have great contrast as well. Alright, so this is actually a very easy circuit to make. So you can find the chip at all major vendors, right? I got mine from Mauser. So let me zoom in here. It's an SMD chip. The packaging format is SOIC. Don't know, SOIC8. I don't know how to pronounce this. SOIC. And so it comes as tape, right? So there it is, and then you need a little prototype adapter board. So in this case it's just put the chip on one side and pin headers on the outside here, right? And I just used these DuPont cables, but of better quality. So all you need really is power the chip with 5 volts, right, and ground. You can get this from the CTM monitor. So pins 4 and 5 as usual, right? Actually, this is not standard, so be careful with this. And then RGB input on the left and RGB output on the right. And in my case, so the input comes directly from the converter into the chip. From the chip, the outputs RGB into the potentiometers. Let's do that again so you can see this. So in my case, the input into the chip comes directly here from the video converter RGB, right, goes into the chip, and the output goes into these potentiometers, right, and from the potentiometers it goes into the monitor. So alright, yeah, so with that you'll turn your CTM monitor into something quite versatile, I think. So it's going to be a very nice composite monitor, and you also have of course the RGB monitor, and it's a much more versatile monitor that way. Yeah, I can highly recommend this hack, and yeah, so that's what I wanted to share with you. I hope it helps you to improve the picture quality and the versatility of your vintage RGB CRT monitor. Alright, until then, take care, thanks for watching, bye.